Welcome back to the JMach podcast, where we are combating veteran suicide one story, one conversation at a time. And I'm your host, JMach. Remember, your mental health matters and you're not alone. Don't hesitate to reach out and pick up your phone and call your friends or family, or head over to jmachpodcast.org to stay connected and get on our social medias. Now enjoy the show. All right, that's cool. How would you like me to introduce you?
Just Marcus McGhee, or the Maniac if you want. However, right. I'm pretty chill with it, Some people call me the Maniac, just straight Maniac. Some people call me Marcus.
I saw a headline, and I didn't read it because I knew we were going to do this today, but I saw a headline that said, the Maniac didn't get his nickname for no reason. Uh-huh. So I'm curious to know what that reason is.
It's not even that crazy. It's not even that. I always wonder, and it's so funny because everyone thinks it's like a crazy story, but it really isn't, if you guys want me to say that on air, are we already on kicking?
Well, we're recording, but we're not.
Okay,
I haven't started per se.
We can put this in. Yeah. So basically, I was tattooing. So one of my favorite books growing up was Maniac McGhee, and it's a pretty good little story about this kid who runs a lot, and this family takes him in. Basically, the girl's like his girlfriend, but so it's the kid's book, and I was always like McGhee. That's my last name, and this outcast kid who's out in the side, which I felt like I was the ugly duckling or the black sheep, So I had already liked that book, but it kind of just faded away. And I was doing tattoos. I wasn't even fighting at the time. I had just been done, basically. I was in a crazy lifestyle. I had too many people living with me. Everybody was doing crazy drugs, and we were doing tattoos. And I had a little room that we were doing tattoos out of, and we were just, kicking at the house. And then we were trying to get names because they had their nicknames, and I never really did nicknames. Because the nickname I was actually given was D-Red, Dirty Red, from Detroit when I moved out here. They used to call me Dirty Red as a baby, as a youngling out there. And that's what I have. But I always hated it, bro. I was like, Dirty Red? I don't know about this D-Red, Dirty Red. I tried it for a while, and I hated it. And when we were doing tattoos there, my boy brought it up, Adam. He was like, yo, you're a maniac, And I was like, yo, there is this book that I like called Maniac McGhee, bro. I was like, and I am kind of a maniac, bro. Like, you know what? I was way more of a maniac at that time because I'm like 22, 23 at that time, maybe 23. And, tatting out of the house and just doing the most, Yeah. So.
All right, JMach family, you heard it here first. That is how Marcus, the Maniac McGhee, got his nickname. Yeah. I just want to start off asking how you're doing.
Yeah. I'm doing good, man. Like life is good. Obviously, we all go through our things, but my family's very healthy and we're positive, and there's a lot of love, and blessed for everything that I have.
All right, dude, that's great. I'm happy for that. But can you also tell me how you're really doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you, man. I mean, things are always tough, right? Like we're always going through something. There's no way around it. I was out late last night. I had fun, but woke up this morning, still had to get after it. There's no dropping the ball. But there's always that, that feeling of not getting things done, because I got a lot done today. All right, now I'm here with you guys. But it's like, man, I still got taxes. I still got...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I got all these things I need to take care of. 1099s to send out. So, obviously, you're always dealing with those things. But for me in particular, it helps when I realize that those are good problems to have. That means I'm moving forward, So, that helps me. That helps me focus.
That's a great way to look at it because, complacency kills, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're growing when you're discomfortable or you're going through something. So that's a great way to look at it. I want to dive a little deeper to learn your mindset and how you became who you are today. So can we start off by talking about your childhood?
Yeah, for sure. So I have my one sister and two brothers. So there's four of us, and we obviously moved down here from Detroit. And my father wasn't with us because he was in prison. So. But for the most part, my mom always worked, kept the roof over our head. We had multiple issues going on. Obviously, every family does. And we were knuckleheads. All of us were knuckleheads and did the most. So we were in and out, especially me and my older brother, getting kicked in and out of our house constantly at an early age, So aunties taking us in, uncles taking us in, grandparents taking us in, friends taking us in, And obviously when you come from I wouldn't say poverty, but we don't come from much. You know, people don't really realize that when you don't come from anything that's like stable. My mom didn't have stability. You know, she didn't come from stability. She come from a lot of craziness, a lot of trauma. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she's raising 4 children now. You know, and she's trying to do her best to break cycles that have been there forever. You know,
For sure.
but I would still say we are blessed, bro. My mom, we got introduced to the church early. You know. Whether or not we were wherever we were, because we were always moving around, and that's why I know so many different people, because we were moving around so much. Wherever we were, my mom was always trying to find a way to get us to God. And I feel like that was one of the things that, like, even when I was running away from God, God was right there with me, and my mom was the one that even introduced me to that. You know what I'm saying? She brought him into my life so early and affected the way I was going to think and feel and what I wanted to chase in life, you know? So that's kind of crazy how that all came to fruition.
For sure. How old were you when you moved out here?
I was 5. I thought, for some reason, I thought I was 6 when I moved down here, but my mom said I was 5 when I moved down here.
Okay, whose memory is right?
Yeah, hers memory.
Okay.
Her memory is right.
Right. Do you remember moving out here, like the differences from being in Detroit to here?
Not at all. No. There's no part of me that remembers. I don't remember. I just remember being there and then being here.
Okay.
Yeah. But just don't get me wrong. There's like certain things I remember, but not really. And it's kind of crazy because I know some people are like, hey, I remember things from like 2, 3, 4 years old, but there's not a whole lot I don't remember until, probably 7, 8, you know?
Right.
You know, that's what.
I mean, I still don't remember much of my childhood at all, though.
Yeah. And I wonder what that is. Some people say, oh, you're running away from trauma. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, people have been through worse and remember that. You know what I'm saying? And so I always wonder about that. But, yeah.
But that's just you judging your own story, right? Because as hard as it is, we're not supposed to compare because we haven't gone through what they have and we haven't learned what they have, right? The butterfly effect. One simple thing will change everything.
Yeah.
So you were growing up a rebel, right? So what were you like in high school?
Yeah. Definitely a rebel, bro, to say the least. Honestly, I feel like I always had a good heart and I was trying to do the right thing. But I was just a scrapper, so that was my biggest thing. I was just wanting to fight people all the time. And obviously I had a lot of people around me who encouraged me fighting people. So that didn't work out the best because I'm always I show up for other people's fight, I'm fighting. Right. You know, there's so many stories about.
So we know who to call now.
Yeah, not anymore, bro. I got over it. But yeah, I'd show up to other people's fights for them to fight, and I would be fighting, you know? It was like ridiculous. So that was mostly me, you know, just kind of still hot-headed, trying to figure myself out. Fluctuating because I didn't really know who I was, lost still, you know. When I first got into school, I was like heavy into skateboarding, and I was really trying to stay away from like my black side, you know, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I'm black, I'm full black, you know, but everyone has always thought I was mixed, and I'm kind of and a lot of people said I was whitewashed, you know. It's like crazy because I come from a straight black family, but like dealing with those things from both sides, right? Like I'm dealing it from white people, and I'm dealing with it from black people, you know. So, and because the way I talk, I don't think I talk that proper. I honestly don't. But I've been said to multiple times, like, man, you talk very well. And it's like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? I feel like I talk terrible. I honestly give myself a hard time about it. But that's just, again, me beating myself up because the past tells me I don't come from being able to talk well. That's not what we should. We shouldn't be able to be literate and be able to articulate ourselves, you know? But I've had people in my life that have blessed me, and that's what it is. Through being out of my mom's house and through church and through different things and through different people, the butterfly effect has helped me develop to who I am right now, you know. And I hope to continue to develop that type of like grit, you know, because they instilled things in me slowly but surely. Every place I was, little virtues. And those virtues were seeds that had to be planted, but then have to be grown by me, right?
Right.
So it's kind of crazy to think about that when I do start thinking back. Because me in high school, I mean, there's a big jump there too. Because again, even when I was younger than that, I was moving around still. Had this guy from church let me live in his house for like, I feel like it was like 8 months. His name was Sean, and super dope dude. I haven't talked to him ever since, and I don't remember his last name. Crazy to think that I don't remember his last name. I lived in his house, bro. Like we had, like they took me to, what was it? Not Knott's Berry Farm in California. What's the other one? Six Flags. Okay. Him and his homies did. We had Xbox battle royales on Halo. Oh. Super cool stuff, you know. I used to skateboard from his house to school. But like little moments like that, you know what I'm saying? Bible studies and like planting seeds for me to grow. So I really give it to so many different people and to God, obviously.
Okay. What were your plans for after high school? Like when you were in high school, did you have any idea what you wanted to do? Bro,
it sounds stupid because I wasn't even in the streets like that. Like I hung out with different people. But I always didn't really have plans. I was always like, bro, I'm not going to make it. Okay. Something random's going to happen. I'm not going to make it. I asked my wife, bro. My wife always was like, it's so weird that you were like so dead set on that, you know? I get to 18. I'm like, bro, I'll be lucky if I get 21. Hit 21, man, 24, there's no way. Hit 24, 27. Finally, after 27, I was like, I'm going to stop. I sound stupid, you know? Like, I better start getting ready to plan for the future, you know?
Right.
It's kind of always, and I feel like that's mind state, right? Like, and even the smallest things have to change so that you can see things in a brighter light, you know? Because I've always just liked to do a lot, so I did a lot. But I was always, like, looking for the results, you know? Oh, I need to get results from whatever I'm doing constantly. Right. Which, there's merit to that, you know? Instead of just really doing it, you know? And finally, it was like, once I stopped looking at, oh, what if I do it and there's nothing there? I'm just going to do it. I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't make it to 27, but we're going to live it up until we get there. You know, we're going to take every day for what it is and keep moving forward, you know.
For sure. It's crazy how when you thought you had a limited time left, you didn't really value your life as much as you do now, or as it sounds you do now when you are going to live to like 110 or something, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Maybe we live to 110. Honestly, you know, we could be gone in the moment, you know,
for sure.
And I even in a world where we could live for so long, I think it's healthy, I think, to think that way, right? Because when we don't think that way, I think we get overly anxious with life. We're waiting for the next moment. We're always like, the next moment, the next best thing is going to come. And it's like, what if you never get that best thing? What are you doing things daily that make you, that fulfill you, that, you know, that aren't going to be that next nut per se, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing on a regular that just really gives you value? And if you're not doing those things, then who knows which day we're on, you know?
For sure. I've had crazy thoughts before that I feel like do you ever feel like you're on your deathbed and you're just flashing your life before your eyes? Like, because everyone says, like, life's already happened. You're just living it now.
I absolutely do that. And honestly, I don't think it's weird at all. I feel like it's like a space that you should get comfortable with, you know? Like, I'll be driving, bro, and I'll just literally do that. Like, you know, just have that flash, like, what it would look like, you know? What it would look like in that moment, you know? And It's like, some people are like, that's so morbid. And I'm like, do I look like I'm morbid? There was a point in my life when I was morbid. You know, I had a lot of depression. I didn't like myself. I didn't like what I looked at in the mirror, you know? What is it? A lot of manic depression, bipolarness, stuff like that in my family. And I didn't like myself, you know? And finally, I got over it and started to really enjoy who I was, you know? And that changed a lot for me, you know?
What steps got you to loving yourself and liking what you saw?
I think doing the right thing, you know? And that's not everything, right? Because I still make mistakes daily and I'm still battling things daily, but like really trying to do the right thing, like really trying my best to do the right thing, you know?
So aligning your actions with your true morals instead of finding a reason to justify that it's okay for you.
Yeah, not doing the right things because I should do the right things. Doing the right things because that's what I'm going to do, you know, because that's what I want to do, because that's who I want to be. Like, why do you not like yourself? Well, you're doing a bunch of stuff that you said you would never do. As a young kid, I always said, man, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't be sleeping with all these women, I wouldn't be doing all these drugs, I wouldn't be doing... As a young kid, I said all that stuff. And then I did all that, you know? Right. And then it's like, bro, it's like, you're not true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to say all the time, oh, no, I'm never going to be that type of guy. And then you become that type of guy, you know?
For sure.
And then you're like, bro, I made this. I let myself like, oh, maybe just this one time I'm going to cheat. Oh, this one time I'm going to do these drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
it blows up into this thing. And now it's like, bro, everything I said I was, maybe I'm not, you know? And then that doubt sets in and it just festers, you know? Right. And then finally, when my kids came back, because my wife now, she wasn't my wife at the time, but my wife had left with my kids because her parents were helping and they're in North Carolina. And I didn't get a chance to meet my youngest daughter until she was 8 months old, basically. But I talked to her FaceTime, and I was really on the phone a lot. And I had my son. I need my son too, because she had my son with her already. And then I had my daughter here from a previous relationship already, my oldest. So I would have her all the time, and we would talk. But she didn't come back for 8 months. And I remember her coming back to the house, and I was like 25 years old. I remember her coming back to the house, and I was like, and my daughter coming into my arms, you know what I'm saying? And being 8 months, and she's not crying, not just looking at me like, yo, what's up, Dad? And then her mom just leaving, you know? And her kicking it with me and my son and all of us just hanging out all night. And I was like, bro, I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
You know? I don't care about anything else. Like, the way she looked at me and the way she greets me, I want her to greet me like that for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And my, don't get me wrong, my other kids made me feel like that. I always loved my children, you know, but I was still not basing like the decisions I make daily off of them. You know, I was being very selfish on my flesh, and that's why I love like in a Christian religion, like how we talk about killing the flesh, right? What you want, you gotta fulfill you. You gotta do what you want, boo, and all this other stuff. And I feel like that kills you. It kills you because you're chasing these things that are never fulfilling you anyways, right?
Right.
Yeah, never fulfill. Try and go cheat. Yeah, almost every single time you're going to run into terrible things. Brokenness on the other side, brokenness on your side. It's like so much, you know, and it's like, for what? Oh, I felt seen. It's like you didn't feel anything. You felt like you needed to get something out, and you did, and now you don't know. And now you have the doubt. Now you're running from all these different things, and now you can't even be the person you want to be, you know? It's like trying to make good decisions regularly that align with the things that are important. So I'd be looking at my kids and I'd be like, yeah, this is what's... And my wife too, obviously. I love my wife. She's stuck with me forever. And I was young and stupid, you know? So for her to be my rock is pretty crazy, you know?
How did you, or have you ever... So it's really hard for me to accept that my kids love me, right? Like, it's like... One time they cry, and then like all of a sudden they're calling me, Dad, I love you, Daddy, I love you. And it's like, you do love me. Mm-hmm. You haven't left me yet.
That's
like, it's like I'm in that zone right now with my kids, and like every morning they wake up and they're like, Daddy, or they see you and they run to you. And I've never had anything like this before. So it's almost like this is too good to be true. Like, how can I accept this? And it's probably destroying it at the same time. If I'm thinking that and feeling that way, I'm probably destroying it because I'm not replicating it the way I need to be doing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had a little self-growth thought. But did you ever experience anything like that?
Yeah, even like as you're talking about it right now, like, yeah, I definitely did, as like working through them and everything like that. And that's kind of why, like, to your point, because what was I even just saying? I just lost full train of thought in the midst of it. So repeat what you were just saying real quick.
It was like the unconstitutional love that your kids have for you.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah. So for me, one of the big breakthroughs was like, I love that my kids love me, but one of the biggest breakthroughs was for me was once I realized that even if they don't love me, I love them. You know, I love them so much. You know, and it's like. And again, I mean, so I'm really on like a spiritual journey. I'm reading the Bible. I'm going through these things. I know everyone has their own religions and everything, but not on a religious standpoint. We call God the Father, right? You know, and how the Father reflects love is how we should reflect love, right? And the Father doesn't love us for what we do. You know, my kids, sometimes they suck at being my kids, you know. My kids are getting older. I got a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. My house is dirty all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I have to argue about getting trash out. I got to argue about getting poop out. We didn't got them dogs. We didn't got them. I got computers. Like, you know, things I have never. And not only just that, love. They know that I love them. Like, they know it, you know. And they know that their mom loves them immensely, you know. So sometimes we can get stuck in this, like, you bratty ass kid, you know, sure. Like, you know, and get stuck in that. And I had like a battle where I feel like our love was really getting impacted because I was putting that on it. You know, so I had to step back and be like, bro, it's not, I love you guys regardless of what you're doing for me and how well you guys do things. Because there was a moment where I'm like, you guys are getting older and you got to take some responsibility, because that's what I was raised with. Take responsibility, be a part of this house, be a man. You're a man of this house, you know, step up, get a job, work, you know, make some money, you know, put some money on the table. It's like those type of things, you know, and to not have and to not necessarily take them down that same path and give them real love and nourishment and growth in a positive way. It's how I learned to go through that same type of thing.
Okay. And to your point, like, sometimes they suck being your kids. Like, dude, I love my kids to death and I'll do anything and die for them, right? But sometimes fuck these kids.
Yeah, bro. Straight up, bro. And every parent, I don't care what they say, bro. Every parent has that. If you really genuinely spend time with your children, yes, fuck those kids sometimes, bro. You'd be like, yo, I just got done doing all this stuff for you. I went to work for a full month and a half for you to have all this stuff, and you are mad at me for telling you to clean off the desk. You don't got time to clean off the desk? Yeah. You buffing your chest at me? What? I'm the bad guy now? You're like, yeah. Then you have to go, all right, bro, is this really worth all this? Like, no, that's a red, but no. And it's getting better because of that, they're starting to grow, because it's not about them trying to do it for me. I've been trying to let them know, hey, you got to do this for yourself eventually. This is for your life. You guys keep on thinking it's for me. And sometimes I get caught up thinking it's for me. But if I really wanted this clean, I'd clean it. I know how to clean. Yeah, I'll take the time all day today, and I'm going to clean it myself, and you're going to come home, and it's going to be clean. And now I'm like, I don't want to do that, though. So
yeah, we used to clean to get laid, right? We know how to clean, bro, right? Like behind the toilet.
100%. Get it all right, bro. Get it right.
Sure.
Yeah, they don't touch that. I'll be mad. I'll be like, yo, you guys straightened up.
I actually like how you said that again, that you're teaching them to clean for them, but you got caught up thinking it is for you. Because like initially, shit, I don't want this mess. I don't want to clean it up either. Yep. But I don't want you like leaving your shit around for the rest of your life. What are you going to be, like 20-something years old and like still eating like a slob and all that shit, you know? Yeah.
Because you don't know better? Because I never held you accountable, at least for you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there's one more thing about our kids that I want to see if you can relate with this, right? So I have a 16-year-old and an 11-year-old from my wife's previous marriage, and then a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. Mm-hmm. Bro, my 1-year-old is in that transition from baby to toddler, and it's like, dude, I swear you were just a walking doll yesterday, walking. Now you're fucking talking, counting, telling me all this shit. Like, it's like you're a fucking alien or some shit, bro.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like that? Like looking at your kid, like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, bro. And it's gonna happen. I think as you know, like as you go through it, I think that it continues. Like at 1, at 3, at 7. You know, it's like they have their moments, and that's why I be trying to tell my kids, like, do it. You know what I'm saying? Go through it. If it's a vibe it. You know what I'm saying? But I want you guys to realize you're young and things are changing. Like, don't hold on to any of it, right? And don't let anybody tell you. Because, you know, when we were growing up, you know, it was like, oh, you're a poser. Like, you're a poser. Oh, you're trying to be like other people. It's like, wait, hold on. I'm freaking 13 years old. What do you mean I'm a poser, bro? I don't know who the hell I am. Right. You're right. Like, but you get offended at 13. You're like, what you mean? No, I know who I am. I know what? Step to me. you know, it's like
test driving right now. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to learn the controls.
100%, right? And we don't really take it like that. And we don't look at it like that. Because I didn't feel like my parents looked at it like that when I was young. They didn't come to me and look at it and be like, hey, man, just look at it like this. They're like, we didn't have those conversations. You know, I didn't have those conversations with my mom or anybody like that, where it's like, bro, when you go through these things, you know. So it's cool that I think I'm young enough to kind of remember, like, telling them, like, hey, bro, do whatever you do. And they have confidence in it. Like, whatever you want to play the violin this year, do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody hate on you. And you want to dance next year? You want to be a goth this year? Be a goth. You know what I'm saying? You want to get nose piercings, you know? Wait until you're old enough and make sure your grades are good. You know? Like, be ready to make those type of decisions, you know? And I don't get a chance to, like, your life, I tell them this all the time too. Your life is not my life. Like, regardless if I made your life is not my life. Your life is your life. And the decisions you're going to make are going to be for your life, you know? And you have to realize that. And it's going to be hard for you to do it now because you're so young. But the more and the better that you can realize that, the earlier, the better decisions that you're going to be, like, proud of. you know, because I always felt like I was doing everything for everybody else.
For
Everything
real.
for everybody else, you know, like everything, you know, always trying to, like, oh, I became a skater. Well, why you have to go all the way in and be with the tight pants, you know, like, why can't you just do whatever you feel like doing that day, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, baggy shirts came out. Now we're doing baggy shirts, you know? It's like, oh, the music. Oh, no, I hate this group. I hate that group. It's like, no, everything's cool, you know? It's all cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like you can fit into any kind of friend group?
Yeah, and that's because I think I've been so many people, man, you know? And they're all me, right? But, like, I've been so many people, you know? I've been around so many different groups, and that's why I usually don't have an issue fitting in with people, period. And I used to have a big issue with it, you know?
Right.
I had a teacher hit me up and was like, oh, my God, I remember you in 5th grade. You're one of the kids I've worried about the most in the last few years, you know? I'm like, I'm 30 years old. You're one of the kids I worried through most the whole 20 years or something like that it's been. And she's like, I'm so glad to see that you're a family man and that she's like, you just had so many things going on. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Because I remember you, Mrs. Nunn, you know? I remember her because I sharted in her classroom. Yeah, and I got picked on for it, bro. And I got into a bunch of fights in the basketball court because of it, bro. 3 separate fights because I shitted myself in class, bro.
Damn.
5th grade. Yeah.
Good stories. And that's why you're remembered, Mrs. Dunn.
Yeah.
How do you find the time, or how do you make yourself slow down? You have so many things going on: wife, family, career. You mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to bring it up. But how do you slow yourself down?
Man, that's a good question. And sometimes I don't feel like I necessarily do it. And that's the problem. I feel like holding myself accountable. Like when we first got here, you're telling me with getting my podcast set up and everything. Sometimes I kind of just procrastinate and do other things in the meantime, right? And I let other things just kind of work themselves out. And that's been able to work for me, you know, but there's going to come a time where I can't, and I need to be able to really put aside time, which is really right now, because I'm trying to do so many different things. But one of my buddies, Chad, he's with Mental Joe Apparel. He's been helping me out with a bunch of different things. And one of the things that he did give me that has helped, and I haven't applied it nearly as much as I need to, but I'm really going to, was blocking out time, right? Like we have these phones, they have calendars on them, and I could literally get on my calendar app and block out the same time. And I did it for work for years, you know, like I blocked out that time, or I had 8 hours, 10 hours shifts that I blocked out time for to get whatever task they needed me to get done so that they can get their outcome, right?
Right.
And now that it's for me sometimes, I'm like, man, I don't really have to do it. So I could be taking more advantage of different things. So I think blocking out time is one of the biggest things. Getting on a calendar, getting organized, you know, really focusing on getting organized so that when you do have that time to block out, the time set up right, it's easier to block that time out. Because honestly, the way I block out time is by just doing everything with everybody.
Yeah.
I just do it. You know, I'm just all over the place all the time. And I was even thinking this week, like I've been gone every night this week, you know. I've been home. I get home, but I get home late. But I've been gone. Monday night, Tuesday night, I had men's ministry at the church until 8:39. And then I went out to that META event last night, and I was out until 11:30. You know, my kids were asleep by 9 o'clock. You know, so and I got back from the gym around 5. So it's like I really just like, hey, what's up? Eat some food. All right, love you guys. Going over to this event. You know.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I really need to figure out how to be able to block my time correctly, because that's cool that I did it this week because I don't do it all the time. But I should be doing a lot more of those things, right? I should be setting myself up to do these events and be a part of these things, like, and utilizing the networking and people that I'm meeting. And I'm dropping the ball when I don't do it because of laziness, because I'm like, man, I'm gonna get on the game instead, you know?
Yeah. I think, so I'm going to talk to you as if I'm talking to myself, right? Because I struggle with the same thing. I got to stop using the words lazy and that, because that's what's holding me from doing what I need to do. Because I'm not actually lazy. Mm-hmm. There's just the blocker of fear, right? But to account towards networking, bro, the past 2 weeks have been my most productive for this podcast in probably over a year. in just 2 weeks, and all I did was network. It started with asking someone to meet me for coffee, and then that meeting went so well that it inspired me and fueled me to continue to keep getting out of my way. And it led me to messaging you and be like, yo, dude, I know it's kind of last minute, but I have this opening. Are you interested in being on the podcast? And now we're sitting here having this conversation.
No,
so
right.
the power of networking is phenomenal. And I've always known it's not what you know, it's who you know.
And the follow up too. Like, and that's why I'm so bad. I need the follow up because I feel like I shouldn't be following up. I feel like I'm being too much, but I'm like, no, you're right. Like follow up. That just shows that you're punctual. It shows that you like care that you're about what you're doing. It kind of shows that you don't care a little bit. So maybe not laziness, but like careless slightly, you know, like
right.
Or maybe like you said, fearful, you know, like maybe I'm too afraid of it becoming more than I want it to be.
Because there's that success.
Side. Yeah, that too. Because there's definitely that side of it too, where you're like, man, do I really want to spend all of my time getting behind all these different podcasts and being on there and coming and honestly doing more studying? Because like, if you're an impactful person like you've started your podcast for a reason. Like, you want to make an impact, you know, a certain impact. So you're, before these things or even throughout this, you're trying to make sure that you're getting quality stuff for your viewers, you know, so that they're getting something from what you're doing, not just being another guy out there, you know.
Right.
That takes work behind the scenes. That takes research, reading, developing yourself, like developing now I gotta talk better. I gotta stop saying no more 100%. You know, like I gotta like all these things that like it's holding yourself more accountable, you know?
I think you're 100% right, and I'm still gonna use 100% right. But you're wrong at the same time, because you said I'm doing this for my viewers. And don't get me wrong, I'm doing it to save you, and everybody else. I'm doing this shit for my fucking damn self. I need this just as much, if not more, than anybody else. And by sitting here talking, I ask you these questions because I want to improve in my life in these areas, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you tell me like, dude, I'm fucking terrible at this shit, don't take my advice, I'm going to listen, because video games, yeah. I stopped playing video games these past 2 weeks. I've only played one time, and I've been productive, right? I deserve to play video games. I earned it. No, the fuck I didn't. These kids need generational wealth and knowledge and love, not me being able to play a video game.
And that's straight up, and I don't know why. And it's cool, right? Because it's not the hate on the video games or hate on playing, but it's like set aside. Like be organized enough to set aside enough time for you to play the game if it's important for you, right? Yeah. But I'm like, no, it's easy. I can just sit down. I can lock out for 2 hours real quick, you know, kill some zombies real fast.
Yeah, you
go
can
to
escape
practice.
What's in my brain and all that shit, you know?
100%, all the stress, because it's a lot. It's stressful, especially coming from where you never really had much and honestly didn't really have a big plan for yourself. Like I didn't plan to be all this, you know? I always said it when I was younger. I feel like I'm going to do good things, and I feel like I'm gonna like there's a purpose behind my life and all that extra stuff. But like I was like, I don't even know though. Like, bro, I don't know. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, but I always felt that way too, even though I didn't think I was gonna make it. You know, so it was kind of weird. Like it was like a weird thing. Like it was like, oh, bro, you're gonna do something dope, but you're gonna be out of there before very seldomly after that. You know.
Do you feel like that could have been a way of you avoiding growing up?
Absolutely.
Because you didn't want to face that you had to grow up because, I'm never going to make it.
Peter Pan. I was Peter Panning out there, bro. I was living my Peter Pan. And that's what it was. I didn't want to get rid of things I knew I needed to get rid of, bro. And that's what it boils down to. And, you know, going back to biblically, but I knew it. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I was doing that led me to where it led me was all just sin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like it's temptation. You were tempted, and you were like putting yourself in positions where you let yourself be tempted, you know? And it's like the world will tempt us. And it's like, will you make decisions to step outside of your character to do the things to make you feel good, you know? And it's like, that's the battle. That is the fight. That's the fight of life, right? And whatever your moral level is, maybe it's not the biblical standards, right? But it's like, whatever your level of what a person is, what a good person is, what's that one saying? Speak no more of what a good man is, be one.
Okay.
And that's from who? Aristotle or something like that. Like, but I love that quote, you know. Speak no more about what a good man is. Be one. He's like, when you look in the mirror, Like, be 100% honest with yourself, which, are you a good man? You know what I'm saying? And I still say no sometimes, you know,
Right.
look at, you're not a good man, you know, like you still have thoughts, you still have wants, you still, again, fall short of making sure your kids have generational wealth, right?
Right.
You still procrastinate, you still, like everything that you don't do that you could be doing is, but it's like at the same time, it's like you can't beat yourself up because you're a human being, you know?
I think that's what makes you a good man, right? Just like back to parenting, if you question if you're a good parent or not, like, dude, I'm fucking these kids up, I'm a bad parent. If you don't think like that, you're a bad parent.
Yeah.
You know, so like if you don't question yourself, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know spirituality has always been with you and religion has always been with you from your mom. But what does spirituality look like for you? Because it's not always, you don't have to go to church. You may never go to church. You may just have your own conversations and your own talks with God. Or what does it look like for you?
That is the spirit. That is the way, right? So I would consider myself a Christian because I do go to church, you know, and I do go to a Christian church, and I do believe the Christian faith, like that in the Trinity, basically, like, and which I never did. That's not how I used to believe it, right? Because we have been multiple different religions, and then we are Jehovah's Witnesses, and that was one I liked the most was Jehovah's Witness at first, but then it just was too deep, too many different things that were crazy, and then I ended up getting back into the Christian faith, which is the Bible, basically, you know. And so that's, but my whole standpoint and all the music that I listen to is all about relationship with God, right? Honoring and following God, right? What He has ordained, and that's where my spirituality is like, and even in the Scripture, like I'm a big fan of reading the Bible. Like I'm almost redone reading the Bible, and then I'm gonna go back and study it. And it's crazy because from my standpoint, and my biggest issue, because I went atheist for a while, was men wrote the Bible, right? And if I say that men are like me and no man is above me, no man is below me, who's to say these men haven't went through their trials and tribulations and made mistakes on scriptures that God has presented them, right? And I believe that's a big thing. So I do believe we should go back to the Scripture to define Scripture. I love that we do have a manuscript to tell us how to live, and for the most part, it's pretty right. You know, you can say all these other things, but like it's not. And it's like going back to our children, right? This is what I love too. I keep telling my kids, I'm teaching you all you things. It's not for me. It's so you can live the life that you could live and be happy in the life that you can live. You go back and look at the laws and commands. A lot of the ones that we are actually called to in the New Testament, you know, and how Jesus spoke. You go listen to the gospel, what Jesus said, you know. And bro, you import that into your life, you are 100% more joyful, not happy, regularly joy. Like I'm joyful. I wake up with joy, thankfulness, gratefulness, true thankfulness and gratefulness, because I look at it like that, right? Like I'm graced with the ability to do anything, but let it to be alive and be in a space and time and be a part of time. You know how many people were never a part of time? There's way more people that could have never been. Isn't that what what's the other that one Neil deGrasse Tyson says that.
Okay.
You know, he said he's like, out of all the people that would never be, you have been, and there's way more people that would have never, that could have been, that never been. It's like, but when you think about it, it's deep, and it's like you're here.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, even if you're going through hard times, you're here, bro. Like, go get it. Go. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? It's not right here. Go figure it out, you know?
For real. And I also have one thing you mentioned earlier, and I want to hit it before we get into your career real quick, if you don't mind. But you said you wanted to escape your black side, as well as you got racism from both sides.
Yeah. Yep. So I wanted to escape my white side that wasn't there too, you know, because I was like, there was a point where I was like, I had to try to mask that too. Like, you know, when I get around my hood homies or my homies that like were, you know, obviously doing other different things, I would always try to mask it and try to be like, try to say things I wouldn't normally talk like, you know. And then again, in the skateboard world too, I'd go right back to my skateboarding, you know, where it was like, you know, bros and a mix of what I do talk like, kind of, you know, like I talk that way now still. Like I still got, you know, I got both of those sides because that was the people I was around. I was around the skateboard community, a lot of hip hop community, a lot of punk punk rock community. Like I was into a lot of that stuff. So for me, that's kind of how it all came to be. And once I came to terms with it was okay for me to be all these things, you know, I just started letting it flow however it came.
Okay. So my next question was going to be like, how did you cope with that, and how did you get over the trauma? Sounds like an extreme. The effects that it had on you.
Yeah. Man, I always have to go back to my kids too, you know? And honestly, to be real, I hate trying to bring my parents into anything, bro, because nothing's their fault, right? They gave me life, right? Nothing's their fault. And that's how I always think to myself. And I know people want to blame this, that, third. They could have done this, that. But nothing's their fault, right? But I always thought to myself, man, and I should have been mentally strong enough to know who I was, right? But when you have somebody around, preferably I think women you have to have a woman and a man. I think if you can have both, that's the best, right? But particularly having a man in your life who you can look to and is a strong pillar of like, man, I respect this guy as a man. Like this guy's respect. I feel like that's big in people's community, you know? Huge to have that support, to have that backing to go to. Because then you have confidence earlier, you know? And I didn't have the confidence earlier. So basically, once I got a little older, I was like, man, I realized that thing. I was like, man, if I would have had confidence, I had a bunch of homies that I noticed things and I got to be around. I was like, oh yeah, dude, your dad's the shit, bro. Like, yo, that's your dad? Like, bro, no wonder why you kind of don't care. Like, your dad's dope. And once I realized that, I was like, bro, okay, yeah, everything I'm doing is straight, you know? Like, I just got to be me. I'm going to keep being me, period, because there's no other way to be really at all. And then I was like, but I got to show my children that it's okay to be them, you know? That being said, I also give them a map, you know what I'm saying? Like, like put them into the church too. Like I bring them in the church as well, but I'm trying to introduce them to God so that I'm putting a seed in for them so they have a relationship with God, so they can create a standard that they can live by so that they know that early on how they want to be, right? And that's what I've been trying to focus on for them. Yeah.
Okay.
And that helped me. That through that process helped me be able to be better in my own skin.
Yo, having kids is like the most therapeutic trauma you can ever have because it brings everything out. I just made that shit up, but it makes sense to me. Yeah. It brings out all your insecurities, all your traumas, all your issues, but you just gotta like slow down, be self-aware, and like, okay, I'm snapping at this not because you're crying over something stupid, but because I would have got my ass beat for doing the same thing, you know. So like, no, I want to beat your ass, but I don't.
Should I have gotten my ass beat for that? Then that's when I started thinking that. Should I have gotten my ass beat for, and not judging my parents because everyone comes from their own thing, but I'm like, let me be rational. I thank goodness I'm of a more rational mind than when my mom was at my age with this kid. I'm in a more stable position, like, you know, because of things that she did in life. I happen to be in a better position in life right now still. Everything, I either got to take everything away from her or give everything to her too, because she kept me alive and everything, right? So it's like, okay, so use what's right for my situation. Right. And I'm like, man, I don't got to beat my kids like that. You know, I don't got to go up there. And sometimes it's really unnecessary. And there's sometimes where it's right, you know? Yeah. But there's way less times it's right. Because I remember it was like, bro, you can get beat up for anything around this place. There's this guy on Instagram I've been seeing. He's like going over to his homie's house. And he's like, bro, can I get the cereal? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, there's 4 of them in there. He's like, which one's open so I can get it? He's like, no, get whatever one you want. He was like, nah, what? Nah, you said one's open already. He was like, no, you can pick whichever one. He was like, but nah, if there's one already open, I don't want nobody getting in trouble. And I was like, bro, that's how we kind of live. It was like, bro, did you touch this? Did you go in there and get that? It's like, yo, everything is on site. It depends, you know. Mom comes home from a hard day, you know, you might get beat up, you know. Yeah. And you don't blame them because you did make mistakes, but was every mistake a real punishment, a real needed punishment mistake? Probably not. But then we take that and we do better with our children, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's where that generational curse keeps getting handed down, right? Because like you said, mom may have had a bad day, dad may have had a bad day that day, and you were just that little straw, and you were the one in front of him, and you got the brash of what he was going through. But now that I'm a parent and I have like yelled at my kids a little bit more than I needed to.
What you doing?
Oh my God, dude, that gives me so much guilt and shame afterwards. And then like, I'm still mad at them and I'm like, I'm so sorry for screaming like that. You did not deserve that. Like, yeah.
But you're kind of like, yeah, you did though. What am I talking about? You did deserve it. But I should have enough calmness and know more about the situation to have handled it better than what I did. Because I know what I did didn't even help you. You're going to do it again.
Absolutely.
And that's the issue. Because if I'm not helping you not do it again, what am I doing?
Yeah, you're not solving anything.
Yeah, I'm not solving anything, you know? I'm just freaking getting angry and taking my emotional distress out on you.
For sure.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm showing you, you know? And we do that on an accident. And that's what I'm saying. Again, from my oldest to my youngest, I've had 4 kids. So yeah, man, sometimes I've disciplined them and I'm like, bro, why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did I do that? Why did I go ahead and do that? Like, did he deserve it? Absolutely, you know? But I could have not. And I was like, in grand retrospect, I don't care about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it irritated me. Yeah, I got to spend 30 minutes taking care of this, or it inconvenienced me. But it's like, now that's our moment, right? Now we got to have that moment. And it was like, was it necessary? There's some necessary ones I have that I was like, yeah. And if you do it again, best believe, you know? Like, I don't feel bad, bro. Sit down, think about it. You know what I'm saying? It fester in that one. I might come back in and give you another one just because you deserve it, you know? Yeah. Like, there's those ones, but those are the ones that we should be, those are the ones that only need to happen when they happen. So, I think that it just needs to happen way less. But when we were younger, it was like, you just get smacked for no reason in the store, messing with something you shouldn't have.
Yeah. I just hate that growing up, everything was, they thought, resolved with anger and aggression.
Yeah, because that's how it happened to them, though, too, though, when you think about it. You know?
Yeah, just passed on. And I understand now, or I'm starting to understand and accept it now. But it definitely took me having my own kids, too. How are we doing on time real quick?
You just passed 1 o'clock. It's 1:01.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're
okay.
Good. Yeah.
So now you get to take your anger and aggression out and get paid for it.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's not about anger or aggression for me. I tell people that all the time. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm in there and I'm definitely aggressive and I mean to do damage and I mean business, you know. But it's like it's not the same as what it would when I thought it was, right? And that's what helped me later on because fighting was all about losing control and being so strong and going crazy and Hulk smash and, you know, and I got away with it for a long time, bro. I beat some guys I shouldn't have beat up in the street, yo. Big guys, small guys, older guys. That I won a lot of fights I shouldn't have won. I should have been getting my ass whooped because in grand retrospect, I was always training. Like, I love martial arts. I love Kung Fu. I love it. And that's, as a kid, I just loved that stuff. Ninja Turtles, anything that was like Street Sharks, anything that had to do with fighting and martial arts, since I was young, I was doing it. And I mean, when I was in Detroit, and I kind of remember it too, but my grandma was telling me about a time when I was 4 years old in Detroit, and we were at McDonald's, and my brother was having a little fight with this kid, and my brother was 6 at the time, having a little fight with this kid in the ball pit, and I jumped in the ball pit, and I get up into the kid, and I'm throwing hands with this kid in the ball pit, and I'm 4 years old, bro. And she's telling me about this, and I'm like, yo, I think I remember that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then my dad, he got out of jail when I was 18, 17 and a half, and he's telling me the same thing. He was like, bro, yeah, before I went to jail, Marvin got his tricycle took by the people next door. My brother got his tricycle took by the people next door, and he comes around talking about it to my dad, and my dad comes out to go get it back, and here I come back, the kid on the ground crying. I bust the kid in the lip, you know. I got my brother's tricycle. You know, like, so very much like growing up, it was more about that. But as I started training and getting more into martial arts and understanding Tai Chi and Wing Chun, and I really started to get into the part of harnessing discipline and the mental battle that it was, right? Because I always felt like I don't know why when I was younger, I missed that part. Like, I missed that part of the lessons. All through all the Kung Fu movies I watched, the discipline just escaped me, right? And I was kind of being disciplined because I was always training and keeping my body ready and practicing whatever I could. And I mean, I probably trained every day, but we were broke, you know? We were broke. We didn't have nothing. So and I wasn't about to ask to get into these. And honestly, I didn't like sports. I was insecure, so I didn't really want anything to judge me either. You know, I didn't want to take the test. You know, like I was really insecure. I might be bold. I might say, "Oh, bro, I do this and do that," but I really don't want you to. Don't really test me though. I just let me say it. You know what I'm saying? Just let me say it.
Yeah, for sure.
But now it's like I get to take the test. So that's how I see it now, right? Like I get to put in the work. I get to learn, get better, grow mentally, physically, emotionally. And even when I have those bad intentions in there, it doesn't have to come from a place of anger, right?
Right.
Because that's not the best place. Like anger is not the strongest power.
Yeah, because you lose control.
Mm-hmm. Love is the strongest power. And I do think love can affect you too when you get too emotional about different types of things, bro. But when you just love and you genuinely appreciate and you just go into everything like that, I love the fact that I just genuinely get to do this moment. I think that brings a whole different type of strength to everything, to anything you're a part of and anything you do, you know? And for me, that's how I approach my career as a fighter.
Okay. When did you decide to take it serious? Because you said you were fighting your whole life, but
yeah. So I didn't get into the gym for the first time until I was 22 years old. So I was 22 years old, and there was an LA boxing. I was trying to get in the military. Maybe I was 21 years old. I got into the gym when I was 21 years old, and I was trying to get into the military at the time. So I was going to school part time because they wanted me to get 15 college credits. At the time, it was like 2008. Or it was like 2010 is when it was. So 2010, 2011. And they wanted me to get a tier 2 high school diploma because I didn't score high enough on the ASVAB, basically, which I didn't try on. I got the book for dummies, never read it, took the ASVAB 3 times. And honestly, it was crazy because it's not like I know you only had to score a 33 to pass it. And I was scoring like 67, 68. But because I wasn't getting a high enough score, they weren't taking anybody. So I was having a hard time getting in, right? Which was weird. So they sent me to college to get 15 college credits. And during that time, I had to get a job still so I can at least live because I can't go back home to my mom's house. You know, right. I don't got nowhere to live. I already got 2 kids, you know, like I already got my 2 kids. So I'm working at Circle K and I'm going to school at GCC North GCC North. I was going to school up there. And I would just skateboard. Basically, I'd skateboard and take the bus to work and everything. And they opened up a LA boxing right across the street from my from my job at 35th and Greenway. So it was Circle K. And I just was like, man, I've been fighting people my whole life. And I've never really went into a gym and like really saw what that was about, you know? And I was like, I need to go in here. I want to find out, you know? I was like, I think I got something, but I want to go find out. Like, I don't even know. I've been so cocky about this. I need to humble myself. And I went in. I still wasn't humble for a long time, but I did get humbled a couple times. I got dropped to the body for the first time my whole life, you know? I was like, bro, never felt that. That happened like after being there for a month, you know? Switched stances, didn't know the lead foot game. Got straight right hand down the pipe to the solar plex, threw 6 punches, or maybe threw 3 punches right afterward, and then dropped like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how that all played out.
And so take me on from there.
Yeah. I mean, basically I've met everybody I started fighting amateur 2 months later, you know. Took like 5 fights that first year, but it was all unsanctioned fights. They weren't real. They were smoker fights, what they call them, but they're at bars. And so I did a bunch of those, and then finally took my first amateur fight that was real. I ended up losing my first 2 amateur fights because I fought this kid, Joshua Medina. They call him the Stretch Medina. And he was like 6'3", you know, and it was 145 pounds, 6'3". I remember showing up, I didn't know who I was fighting, and I'm sitting pretty close to him. Like, I'm sitting here, he's sitting there. I'm like, well, definitely not fighting him because he's super tall, you know? And they call both their names. We both get up, and I'm like, oh, I'm fighting the tallest guy here, you know? Bet. That's what's up, you know? Ended up losing to that guy by armbar. You know, it was a pretty cool fight, though, because I learned a lot about myself. I was kicking his ass, and then I made a mistake, and he armbarred me. And it humbled me, you know? Like, bro, you can't just go out here and knock guys out. Like, you got to be able to work through bad positions, you know? And yeah, so that happened, and then I went on to fighting King of the Cage for my second amateur fight, and I lost to Derek Brown. He just out-grappled me, like not even out-grappled me. He just took me down, and I didn't get up. I didn't know how to get up. I really just, even all the stuff, and I had a crazy corner. I had 3 random people in the corner. It was just kind of crazy. But I was like, man, those are all learning things. I was like, bro, all these things that I'm going through, like, I'm all over the place, right? And then finally, things started to settle, and I was like, man, and Randy and Joe Riggs and all these guys were like, bro, you just need to come to the lab. You just need to come to the lab. You need to solidify yourself in here. You got to take it serious, you know? And I still didn't at the point. I did go to the lab finally, but I was working, taking care of my family, training. I did take some more amateur fights finally, and I ended up getting in a car accident and getting all the tendons in my right hand split, my right arm split. So I went through that too. That put me out for 9 months. Came back and fought, then got in a car accident, or maybe the car accident was before that. So it was like a 3-year period where I didn't fight basically because I was in a car accident and then a snowboarding accident. And I just kept training though. You know, I just kept, whenever I could train, I just kept training and started making my way over there, making more, and finally took my couple amateur fights. And then, and when I was 29 years old, my coach was like, bro, I think it's time. We need to decide to go pro, you know? And I was like, bet. I was like, let's do it. Went pro. It was February. It was 2021, maybe 2020. Went out there, knocked the dude out in the first round pretty viciously. It was sick. I went with Kyler to Norfolk for his first UFC fight. And then the next month, the whole world shut down. COVID happened, right? Okay. So thought I took it serious at that moment, right? But I was still working and fighting. I just happened to go pro. But I still hadn't taken it serious at the time. I worked all the way through COVID, training the whole time. Didn't fight for 20 months. Didn't fight, right? And then finally started getting back fighting. I don't feel like I took it like 100% serious, quit my job or got fired from my job until, 2022? 2021, 2022. That's when I was like, man, I'm so done with this job. I'm so done with all this stuff. Like, I want to give myself a full chance. I want to train in the morning and at night. You know, I want to get the extra strength and conditioning in. I want to be on the right supplements. I want to be really immersed in this because this whole time I've been over here working 60, 50-hour weeks, you know, taking care of my family, out here going out to fight. You know, I lost my 5th fight. And the guy was really tough, and I still have a lot of respect for him. He's doing good right now in LFA and everything. But I lost my fight, and I beat myself up, you know. But I was like, man, still, like, I'm not. It was even more frustrating that I wasn't giving my all, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I know it. Like, I know I'm not giving my all over here. And that's the worst feeling when you know you're not giving everything you can, and you're going out and losing. You know, it's one thing to give everything you can, and then you just fall short, and you're like, bet, I can live with that. But after that, I like started getting back into my Bible and started just getting back into my faith and was just like, why do I walk? And that's why I was like, bro, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking this serious. I'm going to make whatever I need to make happen. Whatever I can do, that's what I tell people now. Whatever I can do, I'm going to do. And that's what I started doing. Everything I could do, I just could. So even during the whole COVID time, I was working a new position. So I would take my lunch early and I'd go to the gym and get a morning workout in while I'm working, and then come back in for my 3 o'clock practice and work out again, then go back to my job, check on everything, and then finally go home, maybe do a session that night by myself. And I started doing that through that whole 2 years, even though I wasn't fighting, right? I was just putting in the work, you know, not because of a reason, but because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to look back and be like, I did this. I've been doing this, you know?
Right.
And that's where everything led me to end up getting the shot at the UFC and everything else that's happened.
That's amazing. What can you walk me through like how it feels walking into the ring?
It's 1:15, by the way, just so you know.
Walking into the ring, and it differs, right? There's been different times, and I like that. So walking in the ring is different every single time, right? That the only thing that doesn't really change is you, right? So I just try to focus on that for me. So walking out is going to be different every time. There's been times walking out and the crowd has been a little bit more. I've felt the crowd more. There's been times where I don't even remember the crowd because like I was just so locked in. There's been times where I felt like super hyped up. There's been times where I felt really calm and I feel like I've had good results in all of those different things, right?
Right.
I feel like it's just being there, you know? So my biggest thing is when I walk out, I just try to be present. So walking out in Madison Square Garden, basically, they're playing this dope song. I don't remember what the song was, but it's like a breakdancing song. And I'm in the back, you know? And I knew my song was going to be dope too because I really like my song. And I was like, bro, it's going to sound dope on the radio. I don't know what else is going to happen, but that song's going to sound dope on the stereo. You know, I was like, I'm super stoked for that, right? And they playing this other song, and I'm like, oh, I can hear you say that. And I'm like breakdancing in the back. My coach has a video of it. I'm like, not breakdancing, but a little bit breakdancing in the back, you know? And they finally go, all right, here we go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I open the curtain, and I just say, player number 1. Dun, dun, dun. And it just starts beating, and I'm just like, yeah. It's like coming out to a concert, basically, right?
Yeah,
it's like, sure. Bro, it's like, I'm just like, it's a vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just vibing. I'm just like, bro, this is dope. It's a dope moment, you know? Like, regardless of whatever happens, I know I'm about to go fight this guy, but this is dope. I get to fight. I like to fight, you know? I like to do all this stuff, you know? So I just be vibing with that. Like, this is what I like to do. This is why I want to be here. So I'm walking through, and I remember the dude be like, yo, this crowd is eating out of your hands, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, bet. I was like, not that I'm focused, but I was like, I bet they are because that song is sick, yo. I was like, yeah. For sure. I was like, I bet they are. And plus, this is going to be a sick fight, you know. So then we get in there, and I'm just thanking the Lord, you know. I'm just thanking God. Like, man, thank you. I get to do this, you know. And then the fight starts, you know. And that's pretty much how it goes for me.
I think all that gratefulness in the preparation of it and in the actual experience of it kind of takes a lot of the pressure off the outcome of it, which I think a lot of people might be focused on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I kind of have detached myself. I realized that earlier on, and some people would be like, oh, if you do that, then you're not going to be competitive. And I'm like, I didn't say I'm not going to be competitive. Like, that's not what I said. I said I don't care about the outcome, you know? That's not saying that I'm not going to try to take your face off the moment you leave it open. You know, if you leave it open, and again, it's not even going to be no malice towards you, or not because I'm cocky, not because of arrogance. Not because, we are in here to see who is the best martial artist, right? And I want to be one of the best martial artists, period. And I'm working my butt out diligently. Just, it's nice to be getting paid to do this, but just because I love this too, I want to be that Bruce Lee, Ip Man. Yeah, I want to be that, you know, Donnie. I want to be that guy, like in real life, but
everybody you looked up to growing up.
100%.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy that can fight 10 people in a space, you know, at 60 years old, you know, if he needs to, and break guys down. Like, even though it's probably never going to happen, you know, but that's a skill level I want to achieve, you know. So it's not about me beating you. It's about me beating myself, you know. It's about me performing up to the level that I can, you know. And I think that does help me, because people are always like, oh, you just be chilling in there. And I'd be like, yeah, because the outcomes are for everyone else. You know, I know the work that I put in behind the scenes, bro. I know how many years I've been doing this. I know all this other stuff. Like, all the showing up, that's 15 minutes. When you guys think about it, like, I'm about to go to practice right now for almost 2 hours. And I just practiced this morning for 2.5 hours. That's 4.5 hours that I put into training and sweating today. And I'm going to go fight for 15 minutes the next time they call me. And you know what matters more to everybody else? That 15-minute fight. Everyone's going to judge me and talk about me for however long I'm important because of that 15-minute fight. You know, and that's why people hold on to all that, like, animosity to the outcome. For me, I realized, I'm like, bro, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not looking at these fights that justify me. You say 10-1, oh, yeah, you're great. Okay, cool. I have work to do. Right? Oh, you're getting beat up. Okay, cool. I have work to do. You know?
Everything's a learning lesson.
I got work to do, you know? Yeah. I have things to do. I'm not worried about you guys and what you think. I'm going to show up and do what I got to do, you know?
That's awesome. How can we find you?
So you can find me on IG, Maniac_McGhee, MMA. And then on Instagram, Maniac McGhee 07. I got a TikTok as well. Just type in Maniac McGhee. I have some of my cooking show stuff on there. And then, yeah, you guys can look at my cooking show, too. I'm trying to come back out, man. I really plan on doing it. You're going to hold me accountable, and I'm going to reach out to my guy and get that going. But I have a cooking show. I have 20 episodes on YouTube. It's called Munchies with Marcus. If you guys want to check that out, it's pretty cool. And yeah, don't text me. No, I'm just joking.
Do you have any events coming up that you want to share?
So there was 2 events. So Trap Culture has a bunch of events out here, cannabis events.
Okay.
That I'm planning on doing. I got the tickets for that yesterday, so I'll probably be at those 2. And then there's another event called the Heat Advisory that's coming up on April 19th out here. It's a music festival. There's gonna be a lot of local guys, and I'm gonna bring my half pipe out that I have because I have a half pipe on the side of my house.
That's
so
cool.
We're gonna have a little skateboarding competition too. So I'm gonna start trying to bring my half pipe out more and be a part of more events. The hardest thing is always finding how I'm gonna fight around it because I was honestly looking for a fight April and May, and it looks like I'm not fighting April or May. So even if that's the case, that's how it's like, okay, now I got to put some things in there to do so I can get out. Because I do want to do more events and just come meet people and, learn about people and do more things in the community,
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to come out and be on the podcast. And before we wrap it up, any saved rounds, anything you want to bring up before we wrap it up?
Yeah, nothing in particular, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. And yeah, I'm glad I finally got to come over here because, bro, I've been putting it off. Yeah. Procrastinating too long. You were persistent though. Persistence, guys. I'm saying, be persistent. Yeah, and it was good though. It was good because honestly, I needed to come out, man. And we had put it off for way too long.
Absolutely, the timing was finally right.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
So thank you,
man. Heck yeah.